um, you'll get a follow-up email with the deck that Lynn uses and then the link to the recording. Also get a link to the feedback form that Marilyn and Megan will post um, during the meeting. But well, I usually start out by asking everybody to introduce themselves to the founder, and that's Lynn. And so if you guys would, I'm going to go around the room. If you guys would introduce yourself to Lynn, who you are, where you are, and what you do, I'd appreciate it. So I'm going to start with Olga. Can you start?
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Olga Sidvark. I am normally in Atlanta, Georgia, but today and this week I'm in Toronto, a very sunny Toronto, by the way. So I apologize for the glare behind me. I am with McLaren's Insurance. We are a global complex claim adjusting and forensic technical services team. We are a global firm headquartered in Atlanta, and I serve as the chief of staff.
Glad you're here, Olga.
Thank
No
you.
fire smoke up there?
No, we got
Yay.
really lucky. Yes.
Yay. Carolyn, and Carolyn's the one that referred Lynn into us. So you can thank Carolyn for this amazing founder that's here. Carolyn,
Hi, good afternoon, Carolyn Schneider. I am hail from the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. Lynn, it's so great to see you. And apparently, I am a connector. So that's one of the things I do best. But history and background is a long background in leading HR organizations for private, public, private equity type organizations, and most recently took my last company public, Ardent Healthcare.
glad
So
you're
I'm
here.
just doing portfolio work.
Yeah. And you love it, right?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I've got two different companies right now I'm doing some stuff with, and I've got another meeting this afternoon with a third.
Yay, good
The fun
job.
stuff.
Okay, David Jewell.
Good afternoon, David Jewell. I live in Houston, Texas, and I'm a retired energy executive, and I'm doing some executive coaching now. Thank you.
Glad you're here, Dave. Harsha, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey everyone, my name is Harsha Bellur. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at James Avery Jewelry. We're a jewelry company based here in near San Antonio, but I live in Austin.
Glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Eric.
I'm sorry, did you say Eric?
I did say
Oh,
Eric.
great. Eric Chernick. Hi. I'm a recent CEO in the B2B distribution space, industrial, commercial services. I just retired from CEOing and now I'm jumping on some boards and advisory kind of roles in the private equity space. I'd say I'm a market expansion guy and also a people human capital guy. And I know there's a lot of HR folks on this phone. I think Scott Morris from Propulsion AI presented to you this group a few months ago before I knew about this group and got introduced to Cindy. And now I'm an advisor for Propulsion AI as he was looking for kind of a line executive to team up with. And we're getting some nice traction with a number of PE firms already. Scott,
Yay.
as you saw, was pretty energetic guy.
Yeah, good job, Eric. Thanks for all you're doing for him. I know he appreciates it.
Nice to see you all.
Susan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Susan Kelleher. I retired as a CHRO in 2024, and since then, I serve on a couple boards, a large private family-owned manufacturing enterprise, the board of the National Safety Council. For both of them, I'm also their compensation and succession committee chair. I also do some advising for small businesses starting out, mostly in the technology space. And I am in Delaware part of the year in Wilmington, and I am in Carlsbad, California part of the year. And I really enjoy these opportunities. So I'm really grateful to be a part of the group.
Thanks for being here, Susan. John
Moving
Anderson.
my hips.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm John Anderson. I'm in Kansas City. Longtime career
Get it.
in IT and cyber. Retired as a CIO a few years ago, and I do part-time consulting for PE firms now.
Easy go, baby.
Who
Okay.
who's Who's talking? I hear some feedback or something. Okay, great. Thank you, John. Sam, there.
Hey, great to be here. Sam Fair. I'm the Vice President of People Operations and Analytics for Compass Group North America. So we're a 28 company, 330,000 employee population that services contract food service facilities management. I'm in the human resources department. Bottom line, strategic HR, analytics, technology, advancing systems processes, and so on to drive the business forward. And I've been with the organization 25 years. So I'm thinking about hanging around. Glad to be here.
Congratulations. 25 years is great.
That is. I'm claiming it. I'm not quite there. I'm just like 2 months away, but I'm declaring it's mine.
Yeah, you'll make it. Anna, hey.
Hi, finally back, right? Yeah, so I'm Anna. 25 years of HR experience in the automotive and manufacturing or construction environment. I left the corporate world 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago, and I'm now adventuring in my own consulting, helping companies going through growth, change, and transformation. So it's very good. And I'm also with Marilyn at Galvico Advisory Board and also at Cluster Advisory Board. Yeah, so
Hey.
glad to be here. And I'm based in Michigan, but I'm in Brazil for these months, working from my mom's house. So that's been great.
Wow, Brazil. You probably
Brazil,
get the
yeah.
long distance award.
Yeah, right.
Right. Thanks for being here.
You're
Matthias.
welcome.
Good afternoon, Matthias Piotrovich, calling from Orlando, Florida, this week, and I've been in HR leadership roles for the last 25 years with Siemens and Siemens Energy companies. In the last year, I joined different industry, aviation, and work as a HR leader for the Denata, which is part of the Emirates Group. So primarily supporting the workforce and the leadership on all HR matters, if you will, with our corporate in Dubai. But I'm here in Orlando, Florida, and yeah, it's been a journey with ESA. I'm glad to hear a little bit more about what this new presentation is going to be all about, and allow for some questions.
Yay, glad you're here, Matthias.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy.
Tim.
Hey, everybody. I hail from Noblesville, Indiana. It's a little suburb just north of Indianapolis and Indiana. And I've been in the HR space for about 30 plus years. Plus, you'll just have to guess what that means. And probably the last 15 years I've spent as a CHRO in large brand organizations in both healthcare and manufacturing space. And in the past couple of years, after really getting to know Cindy, she's kept me pretty busy. I'm very busy consulting practice, and especially in the retention area of retention, and working on very, very busy on 2 advisory boards and consulting with another organization. So staying really, really busy.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for being here. Charles.
Hey, good afternoon. Charles King in Kansas City, Chief Technology Officer with Evergy, which is the local electric utility serving Kansas and Missouri. Been around IT and technology now for a little over 30 years. Serve on a number of advisory boards, kind of leveraging things like technology, specifically cybersecurity as well. So look forward to the discussion today. Glad to be with you.
Thanks. Glad you're here. Katrina.
Hello, Katrina Thompson. I am another retired CHRO on the call. I am in North Carolina in the Greensboro area. Just retired a couple of months ago after 28 years with a top 10 CPA firm. So lots of involvement in mergers and acquisitions, that type of space, as well as just everything in the HR gambit. I'm on a couple of nonprofit boards, but after meeting with Cindy, love the idea of exploring opportunities on for-profit boards as well. Can't wait to hear the presentation today as well.
Thanks for being here. Lisa.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Solentrop. I am an HR professional, been in the industry about 10 years, and I've worked supply chain, manufacturing, food processing, corporate, and I'm in between roles. So if you've got any leads, let me know. And I'm in the Manhattan, Kansas area. I might have already said that.
Glad you're here. Martha.
Hello, everybody. From New York. I'm a global people and transformation leader. I've partnered with many senior teams on large-scale transformation in tech and media and in professional services most recently. And my last role was as a global head of people at ThoughtWorks. And I'm currently really deepening my consulting practice. I just landed another client.
Yay!
And thank you. I'm also looking forward to today's presentation.
Great. Thanks for being here. Megan. No, yeah, Megan Barnes.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm happy to be here today. I am in Kansas City, where it is scorching hot. Well, not as bad today as it was yesterday, but I am in the human resources field. I've worked in healthcare for 20 years, but I am currently in the sustainable energy space. We are I'm a part of an organization called Technip Energies based out of France, and learning all about sustainable energy, which is pretty exciting. And I also do some consulting with some small to mid-sized companies in the Kansas City area. So nice to see you all today.
Glad you're here. I was in Kansas City last week. It was hot. Hot.
Great. Fantastic.
Rick Beyer. Are you on mute? Rick, are you on mute?
There we go.
There you are.
I'm Rick Beyer, and I've served in Chief Human Resources roles with what is now Bank of America, the state of Kansas, and J.E. Dunn Construction Company. I currently operate a human resources consultancy in Kansas City that integrates the science of industrial and organizational psychology with the practice of HR management. And I do that in the area of selection, coaching, and board work. I serve on an advisory board in San Francisco of a company that's integrating AI and machine learning and natural language processing in the human resources area. Glad to be here.
Glad you're here, Rick. Michael.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be back with the group. I missed the last two meetings due to conflicts in schedule, but good to be here and see everybody again. I live in Buena Vista, Colorado. I'm the founder and CEO of a consulting company called Leadergy Catalyst, and our mission is dual purpose. We are a technology innovator in three primary verticals, power or energy, banking, and telecom. We'll make investments in some of those companies, large or small. And the second purpose of the organization is to provide executive advisory services to C-suite in areas of risk management. And I serve on 3 or 4 boards now around the country, and looking to serve on a couple of more. So I just had to resign from one not too many months ago because of a merger. So I've got some free time, and I need to plug that hole in my calendar. And it's great to be here, Cindy. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Good to see you again. Rob.
Hey, Cindy. Thought you forgot about me there.
No, I didn't forget about you.
Rob Bacher coming to you from a rather cool Dallas, Texas, 98 degrees only today.
Wow.
Happy to be here. This is an area of passion for me, financial wellness, well-being overall, honestly. I'm a recovering actuary, started my career in consulting at what's now called WTW, moved into the corporate world. I've held a number of different human capital, total rewards, benefits, comp sort of roles throughout my career, doing my own consulting now in the PE space, startups, advisory boards, sit on a couple boards myself. And I'm excited to be here and hear Lynn's presentation.
Glad you're here, Rob. Shannon.
Hi, I smiled because that whole actuary background in the benefits space is such a superpower. I've known a few of you. It's amazing. Happy to be here today. I am a CHRO, 20 some years experience in HR in transition, open to full-time or portfolio work, very interested in advisory work. And specifically, I would say in terms of my career in the advisory work, the intersection of enterprise strategy, operating model, tech, and people.
Glad you're here, Shannon. Ficus.
Good afternoon, Cindy, and hello, everyone. I'm newer to the group, so it's a pleasure to be here. I've spent over 31 years in the industry, mostly in technology. I started with retail and hospitality, about 20 years of my career, and the last 10 has been in healthcare. Most recently, I was the CIO at Elevance Health, which is Anthem, Fortune 20 healthcare company. I'm in transition right now. I'm doing some advisory work, actively helping on AI strategy, transformation, operating models, but looking for a full-time opportunity as a CDIO, CIO as it presents itself. I'm based out of Chicago suburbs, just outside of Chicago, and just so glad to be here and looking forward to the presentation.
Yeah, glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you, Cindy.
Did I miss anyone? Okay. All right. If I didn't miss anyone, then I'm going to turn it over to Marilyn Pearson Hendricks, my amazing partner who really is the one that drives these. So Marilyn, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. And Cindy, and by the way, if you could mute, unless you want to come off mute, that would be super helpful. This just also a word of thanks to you, Cindy. I'm not sure how often we really thank you or thank you enough, because if I think about the butterfly effect of all of the connections that you make amongst and between us, I think about like the people in the room here that I've gotten to know and the friendships and the relationships. You can't put a price tag on that. So anyway, thank you for joining forces and for this opportunity. So we've got, I think, a couple of new people in the room today. I mean, most of you guys have heard this spiel before, but for our new people, what I want to do is just give you a little bit of a program overview of the format that we have here. And it's probably going to be evolving as some of the plans that Cindy and I have in place. But what we've been doing is we've had a monthly opportunity to get you guys in front of the most amazing tech companies that are coming to market or are achieving kind of a scale up success, and have you be part of that go to market journey. And so what we have really here is, I would call it a double-sided marketplace opportunity for you to get those roles, and also for founders to get direct and really amazing access to executive talent to help support in that go-to-market journey. And so I also want to thank all of you, Carolyn, for the recommendation here for Lynn today. What's really interesting is the schedule for 2026 is filling up so fast that Cindy and I have discussed even doing this twice a month. I'm not sure we can do that, but with everything else that we've got going on, but that's how much demand that we have. And it's not just me running into founders at conferences, which is how I originally met Lynn in 2024. I think it was, Lynn. We sat down, we had lunch together in Vegas at Transform. And then lo and behold, Carolyn comes back and says, you got to meet this amazing founder. And then, like, I got to show you this. So this is our brag board from when we got started, when I kind of took over this with Cindy, because I kept complaining to her about the companies that were getting in front of her 4 times a year. I'm like, oh, we can do better than that. She goes, well, why don't you run it? I'm like, oh, I could do 4 a year. No, I want it every month. And I'm like, Cindy says it. I was like, okay. And but back, I guess it would have been in 2025, we had a company called Hush. Some of you guys might remember that really, really interesting company. Lynn actually was one of the co-founders of Hush. And so when Lynn does her introduction, she'll tell that story. And we were introduced to Hush by Jeff Wald, I believe, of Boomerang. So literally it is a really, really small world in terms of that we're traveling in, and we are on the cutting edge of the best firms, I think, in the industry. And so anyway, it was a fun story in terms of how we met. And so just a little bit about me. I am from Minneapolis. It is also very, very hot here in addition to getting very cold in January. And I do really right now 3 things. In addition to my historical work with WorkTech Advisory, where I was providing support to founders and their senior leadership team to unlock their revenue potential, I'm also president and board chair of a nonprofit in Minneapolis called Learn, Leading Edge Human Resource Network, which is, they say, well, you're not sure, and I didn't know I needed to know about this. And we had Hush actually present a couple of years ago in person after I met Mick, I believe it was. And so he rocked the room. And the third thing is I'm co-founder right now of Galvaco, and we're just getting the product hardened for enterprise readiness, starting with a couple of pilots. And again, Anna, just so delighted to have you on that journey. And so we're all learning a lot. So that's my 3 things. The requirement here to present in this forum is it's kind of wide open, but what we're doing is might be a first-time advisory board. You know, we could have pre-revenue company, they're just getting going. It might be a replacement or refresh of advisory board members. It's always kind of fun when we see, well, we got to get rid of Josh Person because he's not adding any value, so I'm going to replace that person with someone in this group. Or advisory board curious. It's just that, you know, a new founder does not necessarily understand this motion. Now, in the case of Lynn, Lynn has an advisory board. She'll share a little bit about that and as she does her presentation. So anyway, so right now it's kind of wide open. We have not yet started charging the vendors to actually come into this meeting. We may end up starting to do that just to cover some of our administrative costs, but it will be just probably pretty nominal in the grand scheme of things. And of course, you're part of this program. So what I'd like to do then is really turn the presentation back over to Lynn. Lynn is going to give you an introduction. And Lynn is going to give you an introduction of herself and also then about 20 minutes or so on the talking to you about her journey and the company. And then we'll open it up. And again, if you could just go on to mute if you're not asking a question, that would be fantastic. Couple things too. We do have a feedback form. So Megan Tanner will put that into, just like we always do, she will put that into the link. And if you could provide some written feedback, that would be absolutely outstanding. Rick Beyer, you are the model. You always do this. And so we're always thankful for your feedback, even though your plate is full. And then we do share that link with our founders and that becomes a very, very helpful way of connecting, although you're certainly free to connect directly and encourage you to do that, connect directly with Lynn and also catch her on LinkedIn as well. So with that, Lynn, it's all yours.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me this month. And it is a weird and small and something fortuitous to have like kind of Marilyn come full circle back around from Transform 2024 and then meeting Carolyn in a weird stroke of luck on LinkedIn through a marketing tech stack that hooked us up, and then through Cindy and then back to Marilyn. So that's exciting. And then to have found out that Mick came on and presented to you all last year is even more crazy and fortuitous, but here I am. So if you look at my LinkedIn profile, you will see a very varied background. I started my life as an entrepreneur. I helped found a charter school in my hometown. That's 25 years later, still going and very successful, and one of my most proud achievements. I went on to I lived in Dallas, Texas, worked for Heineken, moved back to New York, ran innovation for a company called William Grant & Sons, did a short stint at L'Oreal, spent time at Sotheby's auction house, doing sort of digital transformation there. And then went and met Mick as his CMO at WealthX. If you were there and listening to his background, I was his CMO. We had an exit with Insight Ventures, allowed me to move to London, where I spent 5 years consulting, working with a lot of PE firms on go-to-market strategy, growth hacking, things like that, everything from fintech to classic cars and anything in between. Mick called me back up in the summer of 2020, said, "What are you doing?" It was the middle of COVID. I had a 6-week-old second child on the floor next to me. I was like, not much, actually. So that's when we kicked off and founded Hush at that time. Hush has gone through a lot of changes. We didn't find product market fit fast enough, and so 3 co-founders are now together here at Financial Wellness Labs. We're very close to Mick. We all follow each other and support each other. He's still, moving forward with the Hush journey, kind of finding the product market fit there. In the meantime, we were going to market with Hush as a workforce benefit opportunity. It was one route we were looking at. And I came across this category called financial wellness. And I thought to myself, man, that's got to be a lot easier to sell HR on the financial well-being of their employees rather than the digital privacy of their employees. And so started to get very curious about that. When I went to my now co-founders, and then co-founder Jaffer and Kartik about it, Jaffer, my chief product officer, said, "I totally get it. I just had a baby. I wish I could just say into my phone, I just had a baby. What should I do?" And that it would help me understand what's right for me. And that's what we've really gone out to solve for, what's right for me. And some of the things that we found in this category called financial wellness is that traditionally it's content and education, or it's budgeting apps that look at transaction history and just tell you you spent $500 on dining out. There's not kind of like a so what, now what, and again, back to what's right for me. We had just created an AI-based platform, and we knew that we could answer this problem, what's right for me, and come with a solution to that. And a few other things that work in there. I went out and asked all my VC friends, like, what do you think about this category? We love it. It's growing. There's a lot of PFMs in the market, like Rocket Money and Monarch and, Clio and all these things. So people clearly want some help with their money. The route to market is interesting. We're not sure that benefits is the right way to get there. As you all know, benefits is a funny place because you've got a lot of money locked up in healthcare, especially as that gets more and more expensive. But we like the category. The problem is, what are you doing to change behavior? I was like, oh, man, what do you mean change behavior? And I went to all my financial wellness gurus, and they're like, yeah, people just need to spend less and save more. And I was like, man, that's terrible. That sounds really hard. And then I started to think, what's right for me, AI, all of this stuff. And we realized that it's not a behavior problem. People certainly are not illiterate or uneducated or don't know the fundamentals, spend less, save more. It's a technology problem. And what I mean by that is, I'm 53, right? And when I was much younger, I would watch my mother at the end of the day sit at the dining room table and balance her checkbook. And first, she knew that it had to balance. And second, she knew that she could put that checkbook down at the end of the day and return to it the next day, and it was the same. Nothing would have changed. There was no, automatic banking. There was no deductions. Nothing would happen unless she had made it happen and was aware of it. Fast forward, I was like 30 something. I kind of put the checkbook down, stopped using it so much. Today, I have no clue where my checkbook is. And I have an 8-year-old son. I'm an older mom, an 8-year-old son. He will never know what a checkbook is. He might not even know what a credit card is because he comes to me and he says, Mom, I want to buy that toy. I try to do this financial wellness, good learning lesson moment. And I say, okay, where are we going to get it? How much is it going to cost? What are you going to do to get it? And he said, no, Mom. You go on your phone, you click that orange button. It says buy now, and it'll come tomorrow. And that's it. So goodbye credit card, goodbye, all of these things. So fundamentally, technology has changed our relationship with money. So add another component to that. When we first entered this category, somebody said to me, nobody will ever talk to AI or ask AI for money advice or money guidance. Never. Just not going to happen. Okay. 200 million queries a month into ChatGPT now. asking, what should I do? What's right for me? And now the gurus are building out, spreadsheet, like building out, things for investment, stuff and guidance. But most people just want to know, can I take Friday off? Like, can I afford a couch? What can I do? Right. And so then our view was like, man, people are going to like open, open AI, like open LLMs and generic, AI to ask these questions. We can do a lot better than that. So those are all the kind of, that's the, you asked the first point of the agenda was, who are you? What's your background and what got you here? And that's kind of the setting the stage for all the background. I'll go into the deck and what it does and how it works and all of that kind of stuff. This is like setting the stage for it. We have an app called Finley that we've created that answers what's right for me. We do go to market still as an employee benefit with that. We're still trying to figure out, we know that category is growing because we see places like SecureSave, which is emergency savings. We see platforms like Cashable, which was like low interest loans, taken from, done through the paycheck. These are growing massively, right? Cashable just got a $60 million investment from Goldman. SecureSave just got bought by HSA Bank. They're getting bought by Webster Bank and Santander and all these things. So this is a category that's growing. We just haven't figured out. We always thought initially we just want to provide the coaching and guidance that gets you to the right thing. Those are all sort of single point solutions. But what helps you understand, again, what's right for me? How do I afford an emergency savings? What do I even know about this low interest loan thing or whatever? I have a million benefits. Is that one of them? And so we always assumed that had value to HR in some way, shape, or form. But we're still struggling with that PEPM model and trying to figure out kind of who pays for this at the end of the day, because we got to get paid. I mean, we can't, I'd love to give it for everybody for free and answer that, but we got to cover costs. So we're exploring some different things and then the other thing we realized is that, and I'll get it into, I'm jumping into my deck a little bit, is that perhaps we can be far more ubiquitous than that. Because if people are looking to ChatGPT for answers, why aren't they going to their banking app? Why aren't they asking their paycheck? Where is my money going? Why aren't they asking their benefits platform? What can I afford? Should I take this? How does it work for me? So then we realized, well, maybe we should just show up there rather than offering our own app. So just food for thought. That's the stuff that we're looking for advisorship around as well as we think about that. What works in that PEPM world, who pays for it, all that kind of stuff. And then I'll show you this kind of pivot that we've had recently around our go-to-market strategy with the idea of being an embedded intelligent solution that shows up, where you spend, earn, save, protect your money. Any place that you connect with your money should now be as intelligent, as even more intelligent than ChatGPT. So that's sort of the segue into, yes, we're called Financial Wellness Labs. That's our reason for being. Finley is our main product, and it is intelligence for personal finance. And in the same way that, Plaid and Stripe are pretty ubiquitous in terms of fintech platforms, Plaid gives you transactions, Stripe makes payments. We want to be the intelligence layer everywhere. So let's talk about Jordan. And we've built this for the end user. At the end of the day, we were like, if people aren't using it, again, it goes back to what's right for me. People aren't engaged and using it, it has no value to anybody at the end of the day, right? So we've always had end user first and foremost. Let's get that financial care done right for that person before we go anywhere else with it. So Jordan is 34 years old. He's frontline worker, $72,000 in income, zero in retirement, some credit card debt, benefits, a whole slew of benefits he doesn't understand, really no safety net, gets to the end of the month, can't figure out why he hasn't done better. And for the most part, this is another aha for us. His financial life is scattered, right? And we look at the whole financial picture from pre-tax, through to every penny spent, right? And all transactions. So he's got his benefits over here, his 401k over there, then he gets paid. He might have 2 income sources or 3 income sources, and the whole picture on the other side. Then he's got maybe a mortgage, maybe not, a car loan, a savings account, a checking account with another bank, 3 different credit cards, at 3 different banks. It's scattered. So nobody's really looking at the entire picture for him and bringing all of those things along with his goals and how he feels into one place and one picture. He's not irresponsible. I'm looking this way because I have another screen over there that's got my deck on it. He's not irresponsible. He's not illiterate. Nobody's just ever put it all together for him. And there's 150 million working Americans just like Jordan. And these folks do show up, as you all know, at work with the kind of stress. And by the way, there's a financial implication for at work for that, right? We've seen all the studies which show that, he's spending 4 hours a week distracted by his personal finances. That, multiply that 4 hours, it's 200 hours a year, multiply that times whatever you're, paying them, that's about, anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 a year per stressed employee cost your bottom line. And when you start to get into healthcare, by the way, or manufacturing jobs or things where they have to show up and it's shift management and you can't backfill a shift, that's even more, that's a higher cost to that as well, right? Like this is significant effect. I was talking to the CHRO Bear Communications, and he was talking about, like we have projects. And if somebody doesn't show up for a project, that's a direct hit, to our bottom line. Jordan's pay, so, Jordan gets paid each week, maybe because he's frontline worker. And for the most part, he's got all this kind of stuff in there, but he doesn't really understand it. And there might be a whole lot of stuff that's really good for him in there, right? He might, oh gosh, he just paid the tow truck company because his truck broke down, $500. He's got no cash left. He might not realize that he's got earned wage access, right? Now, that's not our best product in the world, but it is something that can get you out of a bind, right? Student loan support, all of these things. He got the complexity of the benefits and things like that. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do and how it's supposed to work for him. And nothing in that kind of payroll HCM tech stack is engaging with him, right? There's very few of those companies that have a direct employee engagement strategy because generally speaking, HR or the COO is the client and not necessarily the employee. So he's really lacking something that helps him understand what he can do. And that is a great moment when you get paid, when you're picking a shift, when you're taking on a new job, all of these things. These are great moments to figure out, where your money's going and how your money can behave and what's right for you. And then follow him along in his journey. So it's not a budgeting or literacy problem. This is a guidance problem. How does he know what's right for him at the right moment? And our view is to bring all the data points into one place, then engage. It's always on, right? That's the beauty of this. It's AI. It's always on. It's visible, every transaction, everything, always on. It's not a once a year at enrollment time or things like that, or when you decide to get to the platform at the once a month. It's always on. And it's driving right to product, perhaps, right? Right to the right thing, helping you understand where your next dollar should go, how you can get to your goal, and what products and services are available to you to either help you in an emergency situation or help you get to that goal. And then, of course, financially cared for employees are always going to be your best employees. So this is Finley. All that to say, this is what we've built. It's the first AI that sees your complete financial picture and actually does something about it. So we can connect at the paycheck with our benefits. It understands your benefits in a way you can't and a lot of benefit platforms can talk about benefit explanation. What is it? But they can't really recommend because they don't know the rest of your story, right? So we can get much closer to recommending benefits. Spending goals, unified all for the first time. It's opportunistic. It's not just you asking, but it is finding. You spend $3,200. You're leaving $3,200 on the table each year because you're not fully utilizing your 401k match. Things like, and let's help you find where you're going to get that money. It's adaptive. It always adjusts when things change. It's conversational. And then most importantly, this was our big aha was why another app? Again, why not be embedded and deployed anywhere your money is already showing up? So in this case, at the paycheck, right? Or somewhere in your HCM journey, right? I talked about this earlier, that 200 million, queries a month into personal finance, at ChatGPT asking about money. So in essence, people do expect their money to shift, to change, to react to them differently. They want different answers. They want more intelligence from their money. This is about that worker journey, right? How do we show up for them at every step of the way? So just talking about okay, let's think about when they first get recruited, oftentimes there's like a mock pay opportunity and things like that. So maybe that mock pay helps them understand, how does this pay help you in your life? What is it going to do for you at that, from there on out? When you onboard, understanding your benefits, how does this affect your life? What's right for me? What should I do? Even a payroll setup, identifying training for promotion, right? Oh, I need to earn more, or I want to get better, or I want something, how do I get there? It can connect to, if we're connected in at the paycheck with a large HCM, let's talk, we've got UKG as a client. Let's say, think about Workday and those other places. Can we connect to opportunities then that the workplace has about training? Scheduling opportunities to meet goals. So scheduling, generally speaking, right? If you pick up X more shifts, you'll get to your goal faster. Shift check-in. What is this shift going to mean for you? So on and on. I talked about emergency. You spent $500 yesterday. You have no cash. Let's do two things for you. Let's get you access to cash today, your earned wages, and let's find you more shifts to pick up to help you along the way and get into a better place. That's what happens when we can embed, when it's not just an outside app sitting separately. When we are completely embedded within the experience, within HCM, with pay, with whatever, we can start to make all those connections happen. And we really feel this is the future of personal finance, right? This is, your money should be intelligent and talking to you and asking a question. Can I afford to take Friday off, right? Which card should I pay down first? Am I saving enough for the baby? Did my employer match my 401k, or am I matching my employer's match? Things like that. And we're already deployed. So we're talking about, deploying kind of anywhere and in any place your money, shows up for you. So you naturally think of like banks, being a PFM within a bank. But as it turns out, UKG came to us. They wanted to, kind of shift the paycheck experience. So we show up at the paycheck. And I don't know if anybody here is familiar with UKG, but we're going to actually be in market with this in September. And we are a vendor to them. We're not a marketplace partner that you have to then buy into. We're a vendor that's driving their employee engagement experience. And so you'll get paid, and the employee will open the pay. Instead of being transactional, I got paid, close it, it's you got paid, let's see where your money's going. And it goes into the Financial Wellness Hub, which is all powered by Finley. The requirement there was it can't be a standalone app. It can't be out there. It has to live within our experience. And we realized we were the only ones able to do that. And so we're embedded in that experience. And that was really our aha for this idea of embedded, because we're like, wait a minute, nobody else is doing this. There was nobody else in that RFP that we bid on for that that could do that and show up in the same way. So that's, and they've said that, and by the way, they've invested in us, full disclosure. So that was announced. It was a PR press release. And then beyond that, right, who needs embedded financial intelligence? So payroll and HCM is a very, we're building off of that. Where do we go next? Then there's always the banks, the record keepers. I think somebody on here was insurance. Insurance is a natural place as well. From, whether it's benefits on the insurance side of benefits, or it's really at like, life insurance moment, or car insurance, all those things, all those moments. And then what does that do, right? So in essence, it creates that retention piece with the employees, retention for UKG and these guys, trying to differentiate a market, leveraging AI, being more intelligent. So it's really becoming indispensable between pay cycles. We turn their catalog of stuff now. So they have a, earned wage access opportunity that now gets surfaced when it's really needed. We're surfacing underbanked clients to them. So they have a partnership with Chime Bank that gives a no-fee checking. So we can say, wow, it looks like this person is really, doesn't have a bank account. Let's get them a no-fee checking account. So it's a win-win-win for everybody involved because it takes the employee to the right thing at the right time. It gets the employee financially cared for. It gives them, it helps them understand what's right for me. And the employer gets a financially cared for employee. It also gets benefits optimized and utilized. And then UKG also wins because, they're now able to, bring all those products and services they have, upfront without, sort of guessing at who needs it and when they need it and that kind of stuff. This is our team. So 3 of the 4 of us were co-founders at Hush, as I mentioned. Andy has been in this category for a long time. And we do a lot of work in the retirement ecosystem with record keepers, because that's another place we naturally show up. And Andy's been in an RIA and in that world for a really long time. So he's helping us on that side of things. And then we do have a group of advisors. I am a huge fan of filling out the gaps. We're a team of, in the US, we're a team of 8. And then we've got an engineering team in India. So, we're really shorthanded and not, we have a lot of knowledge gaps. And so I recruited a bunch of folks that I've known. I went to Columbia Business School. Adam Harper, Gardner Horan, Susan Song were all classmates of mine. They happen to do really well. And work in industries that are, really tangential and make a lot of sense for us. So Ken Thompson was the CEO at TD Wealth. He retired about 1.5 years ago. He's an investor and joined our board. Eric Legoff. These are all people we meet weekly, basically. A big one is on there is Bob Brainart. He retired. He was the senior leadership at Microsoft, running Microsoft Azure AI, understanding the go-to-market strategy and all that kind of stuff. So, we have, he's been right at this, especially at this moment, really helpful to us. So yeah, that's kind of us. I should mention we're a seed round. We're just closing our seed round. We have a $3 million raise. That is, if anybody's looking for investment opportunities, we have not closed yet. So there's a little room in there. As well. And so that might be of interest to a few of you as well. We are New Jersey based. I'm in New Jersey, Tenafly, New Jersey, if anybody knows that. Weirdly, 2 miles from the charter school that I started after having lived all around the world. But we get New Jersey funding as part of that. And so New Jersey is going to match what all our investors put in. So between some non-dilutive and some equity funding as well. Did I hit 20? How did I do?
Yeah, it would be great to have a few minutes for some questions. So thank you. Couple things. I think I saw Sam Thayer, your hand has been up. And then also we have a couple things and comments in chat as well. And Carolyn. So we'll get to Sam, you first.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, absolutely blown away. I don't even know where to begin. And maybe it's because of my background where it's just kind of like financial HR and analytics. But man, you are singing like it, anyway. First question I have like 3 or 4 questions. I'll just go through them quickly. UKG, is their intent, you may not be able to talk about this, it's just extra value on their existing products, or are they going to resell it? That's the first.
So that's a great question. Do you want me to answer it or you want to wait for the next question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. That's a great question. So when we first engaged with them, their intention was to sell financial wellness as like an SKU and all this kind of stuff. They've had, as you may all know or not know, but they've had significant changes, especially in leadership over the past 12 months. And the entire team that we first started with is gone. But in a good way. Suresh, who's the chief product officer, has this guy, Jay Henderson, who's running this frontline worker strategy network. They're sort of still trying to figure it out. And this is another piece that we're still trying to figure out, right? Which is, we're sitting with a group that is looking to kind of, I would say, monetize, right? That frontline. What does engagement with employees mean, right? What value does it bring to UKG to have employee engagement, right? And so one idea is, well, we can surface more things to them that would be meaningful to them, right? So these partnership things. We believe firmly, and this is what I'd love to get from this group as well, is that there is far more value to their broader commercial contracts with employers, to have this kind of to have an employee engagement kind of piece that we bring that doesn't exist today. And also brings, because another piece of what we can do at the employer level is aggregated anonymized intelligence about the workforce. And so bringing that kind of intelligence into their intelligence hub as well. So they're trying to create this intelligence hub that has sort of macroeconomic data with data from inside your four walls. And our view is like, well, why not marry that together with the microeconomic data that, and so we think that there's intrinsically more value to their product offering at large by having this differentiator in there. And I'm talking to ADP, I'm talking a little bit. We just had an initial conversation, talking to Workday a little bit, just had initial conversations. So we know that UKG is 6 months ahead, right? And so they have an opportunity to get in market with it pretty quickly. We're just challenged in helping them, a little bit more across the organization to kind of define that value.
Okay, and then one other question, and then I promise I'll be quiet because I have a whole list of them. Does your application allow the end users to model out, number one, just about anything that we want to look at? Like if I was going to move in the new location I'm going to move to and how it's going to impact the financials within my world. But also, does it create value for time? So my time is worth X.
Yeah.
Can you get to that level of specificity?
That's one I'll bring back to the product team. Our use case, the focus of employee, like the level that we've focused on so far has been not high net worth, right? And not like triage type moments, but kind of everybody in between that maybe isn't thinking, you guys are at a point in this group is more at a point in your lives where, you understand the value of an hour of your time versus, well, I would say that let's turn that around. Yeah, an employee who wants to pick up a shift or can I afford to take Friday off, right? That's already modeled out. So in essence, yes, if you want to know, can I take this time off? Well, the value of the cost of that will be this, right? You're going to lose out on X pay if you're an hourly pay employee, et cetera. Can I model anything? We're not investment focused. So I don't know if that's where you were if your head was going in terms of modeling a portfolio. We don't do anything in the fiduciary world. We don't make recommendations, advise. We're really focused on the day-to-day personal finance stuff. And the kind of what we call the CPU of it all is your budget. And so the experience really starts off with connecting accounts, talking about your goals, how do you feel, and we get your pay and your benefits in. And immediately within 3 seconds, you get a budget generated. And we find the $300 a month you need for that goal or whatever it is. Here's how you're going to get there.
Right, and I'm thinking of the common person. So when I think of the vast majority of our company or hourly associates, and if they're going to move positions, either I'm going to go food service worker to a cashier, or I'm going to go from XYZ location to ABC location, what is the ramifications of that decision? Oh, yes, I received 25 or 50 cents more per hour, but then I had to move to the other side of town, and it just cost me X in moving fees. Now I got to move apartments. Being able to model that out.
Yeah, it's 100% that smart. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's not the traditional, if any of you have been in like kind of traditional PFMs or financial wellness dashboards or whatever, where you have to like go to the tool set and like do these like old tools and stuff. The entire experience is AI driven, really. And you get to, So it may ask you some questions, to get to a better answer, but it'll work through it in a natural language way as well. So it's all through natural language. You would just ask.
Carolyn, you could chime in a little bit because you did the introduction here to Lynn and you've had your hand up. And come off mute.
Okay, I just really wanted to point out three things for the audience. First of all, as we think about, I think Lynn talked about this, just the way that I think the conversations that are going on around affordability these days, this is a perfect time for a product like this for team members. And whether it's team members or whether it's embedded in UKG or ADP, I think it would be the value to an employer. I was just, my brain was going here. Lynn, some of the things that I think that could be looked at, as well as looking at, you were talking about getting all the data for the employee economic data, and just thinking about what is that, what's the story that tells you around predictive analytics around turnover? So when someone is hurting economically, what is the likelihood that they will leave you? And I think those are valuable details or data that an employer might like. And then finally, the third point I was just going to make is if you could embed things like uh, types of programs the company might offer. Like I had a foundation, so when employees had an emergency, there was access to the foundation. If you weave that into the program to say, hey, you have access to this foundation money. Also, if you qualify, here's how to access those funds. So those were the only 3 points I wanted to make. And thank you. Great presentation as always. And you know how I feel about financial wellness. So
I
thank
know
you.
you were an early adopter. Thanks, Carolyn.
Yes.
I will say this. So our benefits, what we had a lot of ahas around benefits too, right? And it's personal experience. Like, I was on my husband, I was a single lady, like, and so took like the high deductible because I was like, I never go to the doctor, whatever. And then, went off, got married, was on my husband's plan, and we were actually expats in the US on Amazon. So long story, but so we had like the gold, whatever. And then he left Amazon and we went to my benefit plan here, and I now have 2 kids and all this stuff. And I went back to like, I was like, oh, let me take the HSA with the high deductible, whatever. Forgot to fund the HSA. And now I have 2 kids who are like, hitting the doctor like every week or whatever. And my husband's like, what the hell is and he's like, and he's Italian, by the way. He's like, this country is so freaking expensive. What's going on? And I was like, man, and I have an MBA. Like I had spreadsheeted this thing out, done the whole 9 yards. So it was a bit of our like, that is a significant impact on somebody's financial well-being. Everything today talks about what it is, but not what's right for me. So our roadmap around benefits, we're really putting a lot of effort in this, and also need some advisory on this part as well, is how do we get to recommendation? It's so complex, as you all know. But, and the first piece of it is so the roadmap in 2 weeks has us launching with, what do I have? What's available to me? And identifying some gaps on there, like, hey, if an emergency savings account is available to you and we notice that you haven't connected your emergency savings account to the platform, hey, hello. And then we'll, that kind of stuff. And then down the line, we'll be really getting to the level of like, what should I do? Right? What financially makes more sense for me?
Hey, Marilyn, we are
Yeah, we're
1 minute
we're
from
out of
time.
time.
I'm so sorry. Let's do this. We've got 2 hand raises. You guys have to be quick if you want to ask your question real quick, and then we've got to stop. So Michael, I think, was first, and then Vicus.
But you got to come off mute.
Yeah. Hey, Lynn, fantastic. I think this app is can solve a huge gap. I'm particularly moved about how it could really help educate and guide the younger population going into college. I know when my kids went into college, I thought I'd educated them on personal finances. They got all hosed up in college and racked up a bunch of debt. This is a great tool for them at that age. And I'm not sure, my biggest sensitivity for you is how to monetize this.
Yeah.
And, it could be a subscription rate for the end user, or it could be an institutional tool that either universities or employers or others use to attract and maintain and keep talent. But I think there should be a lot, and I know you got a great advisory board too, by the way. I'm sure that there's a solution here where this has to follow you through your lifetime, in my opinion. So whenever you start using this tool, it should continue with you. So it has to be portable to the end user, and maybe it's just as simple as as a subscription rate, but at what price? Who knows what that value is. But for the amount of financial losses that younger people suffer because of ignorance, this would more than pay for itself, in my opinion. Are you thinking about that at the university level?
So I'll try to answer quickly. The app Finley itself, we're actually deploying pretty strategically. Our goal, to go to market is to embed the Finley intelligence. And we think that's a really big opportunity because we think that, again, every institution that has money or where you interact with money needs to offer an intelligence layer for it. So we want to learn and get users on the Finley app. And so actually we've gone to a couple of universities and just offered it out to populations. And so if you have one that you're connected to, we would love to, the challenge is just like how to launch it, how to get people, to be aware of it and all that kind of stuff. It could go maybe into packages that go home with parents. I don't know. But, that's the sort of strategy level of deploying the Finley app at this point in time.
Hey, Vicus, go ahead and real quick.
Yeah.
You can ask the question, but then we've got to go.
No, most certainly. I'll keep it brief. So essentially, I'm doing very similar work in the healthcare. It's a digital twin. It's that intelligence layer, the graph that knows about you, not the LLM, but the graph that stays with you. I think the one area, and I had to miss some parts, I put that in the survey here. If you can tie it to healthcare, because that's where the employers hurt the most. Because if you make a choice between dollars spent on exercise versus, eating popcorn and chips and nacho, I think I can help there in terms of what's important for the employers. You could approach it through Workday, through UKG, others, but employers today pay all of the healthcare costs. 90% of them are self-funded. If you can show that, you're making an impact on people's health and obviously lowering their exposure, that could be a great opportunity to kind of tie it to. And most of the data comes from all the variables and stuff, but we can chat. I think that's a monetization opportunity for you there.
Yeah.
So you guys, we've got to go because I always try and stay on time. You will get a follow-up email with the recording, with Lynn's deck, and I'll copy Lynn. Please reach out to her, Vicus, Michael, everyone that's interested in helping, reach out to Lynn because, yeah, she is pretty sharp, you guys, as you can tell. Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks,
Well
everybody.
done.
See you all.
More to come. Bye-bye.
Thanks.